It's another episode of 420 grams here on newsclick.in. We're in the studios in New Delhi. That's me, Siddhanth Aney, and Leslie Xavier. I'm wearing the jacket that the Indian team at the 2019 Asian Cup will not have the good fortune of wearing. And Mr. Arjun Pandit, sitting in Bombay, along with his colleague Satyavadi Harish Chand, is wearing the jersey that the Indian football team will not be wearing. How's it going, Pandit?
Bro, that was a very mic drop kind of intro, and a mic drop is a very millennial kind of thing. So we guys look down on all things millennial because we guys are two old fossils. I don't know about Leslie, so I won't say that. But Harish Chandar, or Harish Chand as you introduced him, is here because this man speaks only the truth. So Harish Chand, who's the best looking guy in this team that we've got right now? Bro, he's saying it's B. So, it's two.
Don't lie. He said it's Mohit who's standing behind the camera. Anyway, in big news, the final 23-member squad for the Indian team has been announced. These are the boys from which the final 11 will be picked. So, Leslie, why don't you take us through the teams first?
Yeah, so the team was announced today, the 23, the final squad. But the coach has retained the other players from the 28 that he has pruned because there are a couple of injury concerns. Anas, for instance, is not fully fit. And so the final 11, final 23 doesn't have much surprises as such. The main ones being Gurpreet being the man under the bar. And we have Anas listed in the defenders. We have Salam Ranjan Singh, Subhashish Bose, Narayan Das. They will man the defense. Midfielders, Udanta Singh would be Vineet Rai, Ali Charan Nazari, Ashik Kundurin, Jarmanpreet Singh, Jackie Chan Singh. So, and forwards, Captain Sunil Chetri, of course, JJ, Sumit Pasi, and Balwant Singh. So, that's more or less the core. And from this, the playing 11 would be decided. But again, like I said, there is a bit of a concern as far as fitness is concerned. So.
Hey, thanks for that, Leslie. Just before we delve into what we think of the 23-man squad, and you were right, man, pretty much the same names that were expected. I was not expecting Changte to be dropped. Annie, who are the players from the 28 to the 23 that didn't make the cut?
There's Changte, there's goalkeeper Arindam Bhattacharya, there's Lalrua Thara, and Manveer Singh, striker.
Yeah, 23 ki agar baat kare,
sorry, Farooq also. So 5 guys have been dropped, right?
Yeah.
It's 28 to 23, so Farooq also, so 2 strikers and the rest. Yeah.
And of course, you've had injuries to Jerry and of course Nishu Kumar. They themselves were of course not automatically picked. Yeah, if you talk about the 23-man squad, the goalkeepers may no surprises whatsoever. If you had to pick 3 out of those 4, then those 3 would be the ones. As far as the midfield is concerned, and the reason I'm saying midfield is because I'll come to the defense at the end, because I feel that is where our serious issue is as far as the squad is concerned. Midfield may be pretty much the expected names. I would have wanted Changte. I've been harping about this kid whenever I talk about Indian football or whenever we talk about the team. I've been harping on about this kid because he possesses something that a majority of our players don't possess. Having said that, I think the coach has gone for players who have been with him as far as longevity is concerned, who understand his system, who understand his methodology of approaching a game. Changte, for as many times as he's been a part of the camp, he's not been part of the India team, if I may say, the regular team, other than that SAF championship where he announced himself, which was held in India. Other than that, he hasn't played too many times with the Indian team as far as the main squad is concerned. So that could probably be one thing that has gone against him, because the coach has gone out and said after releasing his squad as well that I would go for the tried and tested boys. If we've been doing something for a long time like this, there's no reason why I'm going to be doing so much of chopping and changing.
Yeah, not at this stage, right? Anyway, when like the toughest test lies ahead, so this is not the right time for him to be as we had suspected pretty much. And no one that you would have picked, for example, in your playing 11 is not in the 23.
Yeah.
Correct?
Even the forwards, no surprises. There's JJ, there's Balwant, there's Sunil, of course. I think the toss-up was between Sumit Pasi and Manveer Singh. And there you probably have to go with Sumit Pasi because he's got more playing time in the ISL, if I may say. Manveer has still been a guy who's been coming off the bench, though Sumit too has also been doing that with Jamshedpur. But if you see the coach's track record, he's always been preferring Sumit Pasi over Manveer. So he's gone with that. So he's gone with his tried and tested players. Now let's come to the defense, because in our earlier episodes we were saying, if Sunil Chhetri is marked out, where will your goals come from, right? And that could be a serious issue with JJ and Balwant not in form in the ISL. I don't think that will be our biggest problem now, because I don't think we're going into the Asian Cup as a side that's going to score too many goals. For me, I think we're a side who will depend on how well we are organized and how well we can break on those few counter moments when, of course, the opposition is completely unorganized in our own half, and what we make of those moments moving ahead. When you talk about, accepting all that pressure from the opponents, and I'm talking about even Thailand. Thailand is a top team going forward. When you talk about Thailand and defense, then Thailand defense might be a problem. But I think defense may, on the right will be, there is Narayan Das, of course. And then on the left will be, who's the other? Preetham will be on the right. Narayan will be on the left. And you've got Sandesh and Anas in the middle. Now, of those four, if I had to pick my first defender in that team sheet, it would be Preetham Kotal. It would not be Sandesh Jhingan. Because Preetham Kotal is by far ahead of all these other defenders for me in terms of consistency and what he gives to you in an international game. Then comes Sandesh Jhingan, then comes Narayan Das, and then of course comes Anas. But the big problem is your two stopper backs. I know Anas and Sandesh have been part of a franchise that has been in some seriously poor form in the ISL. One has not even got regular playing time in the ISL so far. And there is a stat, of course, that when Sandesh, Anas and Gurpreet start a game for India, India hasn't lost a game. Having said that, we haven't played opposition like the opposition we're going to be facing.
These stats should go out of the window.
Yeah, exactly. Stats should go completely out of the window.
Put them in young Kermit's pouch.
No. So, Harish Chandar, are you in agreement with what I'm saying as far as the defense?
Sehmat hai.
He's saying right. Because I feel, आपके दो stopper backs अगर top form में नहीं है, and like Leslie mentioned, he's still a bit of an injury concern, not fully fit. That for me is the one big area or the big concern for the Indian team then. अगर आपके दो stopper backs are not in prime confidence and they haven't played too much football together as far as club football is concerned, because they're part of the same franchise, but they haven't played too much football together. So that could be a serious issue.
Was there any player who were overlooked who could have been a better backup? I mean, or even not a backup but a replacement for these two players? Because obviously the coach has gone by history, like you mentioned, the players that he's comfortable with and trusts at some level.
Yeah, he seems to have gone with the guys who he has kind of taken through the system. And it's a young looking squad. So the big positive is that this is a, by and large, extremely young squad. Only 2 members, like we had suggested earlier, only 2 members of the 2011 Asian Cup team are still in the squad. That's Gurpreet.
Average age is about 25, 26.
Gurpreet and Sunil. Sunil, of course, played, I think, every minute of that last Asian Cup, the 3 games that
top scorer for India, 2 goals.
Yeah. And Gurpreet didn't get a chance to play because he was, back then he was 17 years old. But he learned, I mean, his learning process really began there. So today, when Gurpreet is at a stage where the captain, where Chhetri is saying that he's established himself as the most important member of this team, that process began back then. And it would have been great for me to see another 17, 18-year-old kid as a goalkeeper especially. Because your third goalkeeper really is backup. If you have 3 goalkeepers in a squad.
You're saying right? Someone like a Dheeraj.
Someone like a Dheeraj or Nawaz. I mean, the issue with both Dheeraj and Nawaz, to my mind, is that they are both slightly shorter than what you would expect an international standard goalkeeper to be.
Yeah, but then what are you doing to the confidence of a Vishal Kaith or even Arindam, who have been performing for their franchises? They're saying, the one system that guarantees us a place in the Indian setup, albeit not in the playing 11 or whatever. So what are you doing to their confidence? Saying कि आप खेलो जितना खेलना है, because the biggest tournament हम तो एक young लड़के को लेके जा रहे हैं.
But that's a reality also, no? Because at some level you have to look into the future as well. The way you mentioned that it gives you confidence, and the larger picture is you are building towards something 10 years down the road. You're building a squad that is incrementally increasing in quality, right? And for that, exposure at the right stage would be important. in that way, I agree with what Siddhanth is saying. And the coach perhaps is a little like, I mean, the latest news coming out is that the coach is going to be out after the Asian Cup. So perhaps
reports coming up.
He just is not, I mean, inclined enough to commit towards a larger picture or a bigger, I mean, longer future.
Yeah. For now, I mean, it's clear that the focus for this coach is to try and work a miracle whereby his boys pull out something magical in the Asian Cup and somehow his tenure at this country in this team is continued, right?
That's not, anyway, I won't comment on that, but...
Don't comment on it. Tell your friend Harish to comment on it.
What do you want to ask Harish? Ask Harish.
That is his purpose.
What do you want to ask Harish? Tell me.
वो तो मजाक कर रहा था, but
is the Indian coach going to continue after the Asian Cup, Harish?
Oh, that's a non-committal Indian head nod. सही बात है. So, given that this is likely to be this is the squad that we will pick from. Now, everything else, who could have been in, couldn't have been in, all that is out of the window. What do you think of the team, Leslie, that's been selected? And how do you think they line up? Not in terms of specifics maybe, but like, do you think they'll approach the Thailand game aggressively and with the purpose of getting those 3 points?
I think Thailand is the best team to approach to try and win the match among the other teams in the mix. But the thing is, and again, if you look at, and I'm sure the team management also knows that the defense is slightly iffy. So if you play that attritional game or...
Slightly iffy is an understatement, huh, bro?
Yeah. So if you play that attritional game and if you sit back and then try and, I mean, it may not work, it may backfire big time. So against a team which you fancy, I mean, the best team to fancy your chances against, I think they should go all out. I mean, they might be planning an all out attacking game. Of course, other factors have to be taken into concern because Thailand won't be sitting back. Thailand is not a sitting back team either. So
yeah, you know, I was seeing a nice story on Thai football, and they were, of course, chatting with the coach. And there's a bit of a revolution in football going on over there as well, right? And he said that this team in the past was afraid of expressing themselves on the field. As opposed to now, this team likes keeping the ball on the ground. They've got a sort of revolution, if I may say, like what's going on in India. They've got a club called Buriram, much like what we have over here in Bengaluru, which is showing everyone the way ahead on how a professional setup is. A majority of the Thai players in that squad are from Buriram. There are 2 players playing in the J League. One of them is highly touted. He moves ahead while attacking. He is called the Thai Messi or something. And there is one goalkeeper who is also playing in Europe. Having said that, the Thai defense is, wherever you've read about the Thai defense, har bari bola gaya, it's a weak squad as far as defense is concerned. So it remains to be seen what sort of tactics, you know, you're talking about how he'll set up. Your 4 defenders will be Pritham, Sandesh, Anas and Narayan, right? Now, while I was talking about defense, not in the best of form, please exclude Pritham from that. Because I think Pritham is a top defender. He's our top defender, right? Sandesh is there. And then, of course, there is Narayan and Anas, who I feel I'm not too sure about them, okay? Now, moving forward, a lot will depend on our midfield and our organization in midfield. And for that reason only, you will have Pranoy Halder will be the first name in that midfield. Because you need cover for that defense. If you're going to be playing the way you're playing, which I presume is on counters, with Udanta, Sunil and JJ, and of course Anirudh, then making that diamond, then you need someone to sit back and of course cover for the counter attacks. Now, the big question is who he uses, because Rowland Borges bhi hai. I think in the Thailand game, you will go with an Anirudh Thapa, because अगर यहाँ पे आपने 1 point ले लिया, तो फिर you know तब थोड़ा you never know. Then you can still dream. But if you lose versus Thailand only with a defensive approach, then it's pretty much over as over.
Tournament is as good as over because UAE and Bahrain, so I mean teams with pedigree. And again, you mentioned Pranoy Halder's importance to the midfield because of the condition in which our defense is. But Pranoy himself is actually in the injury list. He's not fully fit. So, there again, one more spanner in the equation.
Then if Pranoy is not fully fit and he wants to add someone else, then Rowland, of course, comes in as the backup for Pranoy.
All this said and done, I'm pretty excited to see how the midfield will finally turn out, because in the game against Thailand, at least, these boys now have, we've already spoken about this several times in the past, they have the training from the beginning, similar sort of level, standard of training that maybe the Thai boys have had. They have the confidence and sort of the mentality to not think of themselves as lesser players on any standards, as the game against China proved, right? So they, of course, the Indian team, it has to be mentioned, has a couple of games coming up before we go into that first clash against Thailand, which is friendlies against Oman, and then they'll play a club side, and then play against Syria, probably. Syria. Yeah. So how the boys eventually sort of combine in these games will play a major factor, but I'm extremely excited to see how the current midfield lineup will do in a competitive tournament fixture.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking also, because all these matches you mentioned, China or Jordan, they played, right?
Yeah.
And but competitive fixture, big tournament, again our players, even the seasoned of players have had very little experience in such a tournament format, and where the stakes are high. It's a different thing playing in the ISL. I mean, it's great that you look at the ISL form and how the players are faring over there and all that, make your selection. But then at some level, this combination, the first real test that they would have had in a tournament situation would have been against Thailand.
Guys, wouldn't you agree? Okay, agreed that match situation when it comes to tournament situation is completely different from playing a friendly. But what do you base your opinion on a certain player or a certain strategy or a certain ploy on how to attack? That will be based on what you've done in the past, right?
Sure.
So these three games, like you mentioned, Oman, of course, as we speak, the Oman game is on. And then there is a club game, and then there is, of course, a game versus Syria. And there's a reason why he's playing it behind closed doors, because he doesn't want to let out too much of his tactics and whatever is going on, understandably. I think something you've been doing in the build-up, say, for about 6 months prior to a tournament, and if you've been doing that moving ahead, you will not change it suddenly because you've come into a big stage tournament. That was the India of the past. कि आप गए टूर्नामेंट में सडनली आपने कहा जी मुझे तो गोल बचाने हैं, ये है मेरा फर्स्ट इंटेंशन,
ऑब्जेक्टिव. हाँ, बट वो तो है ही ऑब्जेक्टिव ना, वो तो गिवन है.
पर वो अब इस बारी नहीं होएगा भाई. एटलीस्ट टिल द थाईलैंड गेम I don't think that will be our objective. If, say, we lose to Thailand, we lose to UAE, then versus Bahrain, you could think, I don't want it to be an embarrassing thing, right? But versus Thailand is when आप अपने सारे पत्ते show करोगे, as how they say, ना, सारे पत्ते show आप Thailand पे ही करोगे. So as far as whatever attacking prowess you've got, you will display it versus Thailand in the way you approach the game. And also, if you got Udanta, Sunil, and JJ, right? I don't think, like I was talking to a lot of people prior to this, and they thought कि coach midfield भरने वाला है. He will fill up the midfield and just keep one player up front or two players up front. I don't think that will be the case, yeah. Because if you've got Udanta, JJ, and Sunil, and you've got to get the best out of them, and let's agree that going forward these are three best players, then it makes no sense to not play all three of them and then to adopt a different strategy altogether. And if you have to play all three of them,
agreed.
It means you've got to leave spaces open in the midfield, move forward, bomb forward, and you've got to have someone like a Thapa supporting them from behind. As far as Pranoy, I think will be the most crucial cog in this team. Yeah. Pranoy will be the most crucial cog in this team. How disciplined Pranoy is, you know, how much he works for the team, up and down. That will be our main factor. I think. हम लोग सब सुनील बोल रहे हैं, JJ बोल रहे हैं, उदांता बोल रहे हैं. I think Pranoy will be our most vital cog, because I think once again, like what I started the episode, we're not a team that's set up, or we're not a team that's going to go and score too many goals. We're a team that can try to make the most of our opportunities. And in that aspect, it means 90 minutes में अगर आपको 3-4 opportunities मिली है, उसका मतलब ये है कि 80 मिनट के लिए आपको बहुत डिसिप्लिन्ड होना है, and that is what our strategy will be.
Taking forward from what he said, thing is that again he mentioned that you will display all your cards, you will reveal all your cards against the game against Thailand. That's a fair point. That's a advantage in some way, but it's also a weakness. Problem is that by trying something at a competitive level in the first match and then going disarray after that, it's a weakness too. It's not a strength. It's not just a strength going into the match, if you get what I'm getting into. And otherwise, like I have maintained through the conversation here, I think India would have to go all out against Thailand. There's no other go. So filling up the midfield, if it works, the coach should try that, because that more or less solidifies the. You can't concede goals either. I know you score.
आपने goal concede कर लिया, then major.
So it's a tricky call for the coach there, because I don't know how he will go out, because if you fill up the front part, and it's not like we are, one chance and we'll score, that kind of a guarantee is not there with our scorers, because our forwards are also not exactly in great form.
And not in the habit of playing against this level of competition. So there are many challenges, I think, but hugely exciting. So just let me ask you quickly, and we need to wind this up, so very quickly, compare this squad, Pandit, to the 2011 squad, and tell me what you see in terms of how in the last 8 years the Indian team has moved forward. Not back, forget the back part, just how we may have moved forward.
In terms of individual talent, man for man?
Yeah, and how the team seems to be working together as a unit.
In terms of individual talent, man for man, 2011 on another level. For me, that is the best Indian team I have seen, hands down. And not just the 2011 squad, but the squad building up to the 2011 Asian Cup and the stuff they kept on winning and so on. But let's not forget that I feel as a unit, I think this squad is much better than the 2011 squad as a unit. And let's not forget that 2011 did not have Bhaichung, the Asian Cup. If they would have had Bhaichung, so it could have been different. They wouldn't have just walked away with a couple of goals that Sunil would have scored. There would have been a different energy on the field when they would have been playing. Yeah. But as a unit, I feel this squad is better suited to play at international football. I think they know as a unit, they function better off the ball, right? So they shape very well and they don't give too much space to the opposition. And they've been doing that as a team for a while in the build-up to the Asian Cup, that 13-match unbeaten streak. And, you might, no, seriously, yeah, 13-match unbeaten streak, कुछ भी आप कह लो.
Unlucky number, यार, 30. Unlucky number.
नहीं, आपका कोई भी opposition हो यार, but 13-match unbeaten streak in international football for India. Let's be realistic here. For India is not an easy task. And believe you me, 13-match unbeaten streak, it'll be a while now since we can match up to that 13-match unbeaten streak. Huh? It'll be a while. And we haven't faced some very easy opposition in that. We faced Kyrgyz in that. We faced Myanmar away on that. And these were all competition games, qualifying for the Asian Cup. They were not friendlies. Yeah, so no, Leslie wants to say something. I can see it on his face.
So the intent is there. The sort of, I guess the groundwork is there. And the team is as prepared as it possibly can be for this major tournament.
Exactly.
Right? I don't think now there's any point getting into the history and geography of where the team has come from and any of those things. One point that I have to make note of is that in the entire 23-man squad, there is a single player representing the I-League. And that's East Bengal's Salam Ranjan Singh, Manipuri lad. Clearly, we cannot send any questions that way because वहाँ सच बोलने वाला कोई नहीं है. तो हम on this note, I think all we'd like to do is send our best wishes to the 23 men that will wear some version of this outfit.
I heard that it's very flashy. It goes, it gels well with a strong unit.
Yeah.
That this team is compared to the 2011 team.
And they've maybe done some deals in the black markets of China with the tiger stuff going on and all. So maybe the boys will have some extra vim and vigor.
Last episode before the Thailand game now, of course, right?
Absolutely.
We'll be building up to the Thailand game.
Yeah.
So Happy New Year to all the viewers. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Harish Chandra is also saying thank you. आपकी वजह से हमारा घर चल रहा है.
So that's it. That's it for this episode, guys. We have the 23-member squad. We'll be taking you guys through the tournament or with you through the tournament, following very closely what India does. Pandit will be on star, and along with his colleagues Arjun, Anant Tyagi, Ranidi Singh, a bunch of people that you've seen on this show before. They'll all be there, and we'll continue our coverage in whatever way we can. So please tune in and see you next year.